Thursday Night Football. The Carolina Panthers are on the road to take on the Chicago Bears. My two favorite picks are on the way. But first, let's talk about this game because either one of three things is true for everyone watching this video. Number one, you're either a fan of the Bears or the Panthers, to which I say, hey, I'm sorry this hasn't been a great season, but props to you for supporting your team. Number two, you're a call on a shot fan, which you just love tuning into the videos, which I appreciate everyone that falls into that category. And number three, which probably categorizes a lot of us watching this video, you're a degenerate. You see an NFL game and you're going to bet it no matter how nasty the game is. You're betting it, and that fits for a lot of people out there that are watching this video, and to which I say, hey, welcome aboard. Let's go 2-0 tonight, and let's dominate the books. But first off, we have to dive into a recap from Week 9. It was a profitable week. We will certainly take that, only up about a half a unit. We were 5-4. Not the greatest week, could have easily been better, and I think Week 10 will be even better. Let's continue to build on that and hopefully have a great profitable season the rest of the way. We did go 2-0 last Thursday night. Hey, let's try to do that once again. Before we dive into that, Bet365 has a wonderful offer. Two offers, actually. You can choose whichever one you want. The first offer would be you can get $150 in bonus bets. It's a pretty good one. You can also get a first bet safety net up to $1,000 in bonus bets. So when you sign up, top link in description, you choose your offer, you collect your bonuses. It's available in New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, Kentucky, Colorado, and Iowa. Bet365, we love them. They have a lot of great odds. So if you're in one of those states, you definitely should have Bet365 as one of your sports books you're kind of rotating with. And number two, Sleeper does have a Bryce Young free square only for new users that sign up using our code. So make sure you use our code COS. You'll also get a 100% deposit match, but you will also get the Bryce Young free square to get 1 yard. Take advantage of that. I'll have a sleeper entry at the end of this video that you could probably throw Bryce Young's free square in there if you are a new user. If you're not, like I am, you could definitely use it on there as well. But let's dive into my first pick of the day. It's going to be a Carolina Panthers wide receiver. It's Mr. Adam Thielen. I like his over 6.5 receptions, -110 on DraftKings. Personally, I would play this to right around -120-ish, -125. Don't really like laying any more juice than that. And I really do think that Adam Thielen is going to get 7 receptions tonight, and this line's not going up to 7.5. So if you're on the underdog, the PrizePicks, the sleepers of the world, parlay play, you'll have the ability, have the ability to take this over 6.5 receptions. But let's talk about Adam Thielen, who, I know this hasn't been the greatest NFL season for us. Adam Thielen has delivered for us. He normally delivers when we bet on him, and hopefully he delivers once again, because since week 2, Thielen, you've seen his receptions, 7, 11, 7, 11, 11, 8, and 5 receptions. Only saw 6 targets last week versus Indianapolis, and he has 7+ receptions in 6 of 7 weeks. So this is a guy that has just a very high floor. I mean, still 5 receptions on not a great week for him. I think he gets back on track against the Bears team that runs a ton of cover 2, a lot of zone coverage, and that is what Thielen's best against. He can go sit in those zones, and he has the best connection with Bryce Young, and Bryce Young should be able to throw it to him. Now, I'm not saying that, Adam Thielen goes over his yards, but I still do think he has a good chance of getting 7 receptions, which is a lofty number, but something that Thielen does pretty consistently. And this is a Chicago Bears defense that is very good at stopping the run. Not something you would really expect, but Chicago allowing 3.3 yards per rush attempt, the lowest in the NFL. This is a team been very good at stopping the run, and they should force Bryce Young to have to throw the ball, which is what we want. We don't necessarily need Young trying to throw it 50 yards down the field. That's really not his game. He's mostly throwing it, dink and dunking down the field, and that's where Thielen comes into play, his number one option. We've seen over the last 3 weeks, we've seen Chris Olave. He had 6 receptions, but I think Derek Carr, 24 completions. He just kind of spread it around. Keenan Allen had 8 receptions the week before. Even Austin Eckler, I think, had 7. Devontae and Jacoby Myers, those guys had 7 receptions each for Chicago. And while I don't necessarily dislike Thielen's over in yards, which is about 68, 70.5, I mean, we saw last week 5 receptions for 29 yards. Thielen is not the guy that's going and averaging, 15, 20 yards per catch. That's not his game. He's normally getting, 5, 10-yard catches, some bubble screens trying to go up the field. That's what he does. And I think that we're going to see Bryce Young unload it to Thielen, see him pick up some first downs, and that's kind of how he uses Thielen. So 7 receptions, I know it sounds like a lofty goal. It might not be, Tyreek Hill, but this is Adam Thielen. This is a guy that's had a great season for this Panthers team. It's been really their only reliable option, and they really honestly have a lot of injuries too on the receiving core. DJ Chark is out, and then you're going to see, I believe, one of their backup tight ends is also out. So Thielen, I think he can fall into 7 receptions. The Bears are also 3.5-point favorites, and I don't really trust the Bears to move it consistently on offense on the other side to chew the clock. So I really do think that Adam Thielen gets to 7 receptions. Give me his over 6.5. Now, my second pick is going to be another Carolina Panthers player. It will be a running back, but not taking his rushing yards. It's going to be Miles Sanders, the Carolina Panthers running back, over 10.5 receiving yards, -110 on DraftKings. Now, let's talk about Sanders, who I would play this line up to about 11.5. If you want to pivot to his over in receptions, you certainly can at 1.5, but that's a little bit too juiced for me. I think the receiving yards and receptions obviously go hand in hand. I rather, if he gets 2 receptions and doesn't get 11 yards, just know I'll be in pain. But let's talk about Miles Sanders, because last week, he kind of got back to playing decently well, and that's kind of what we wanted to see because he did get injured early on in the season. And after he returned from injury in week 8, they kind of gifted the backfield to Chuba Hubbard, and we saw that in the snaps. We saw Sanders only play 12 snaps compared to Hubbard's 45. Last week, Sanders saw an uptick in usage, 18 snaps. Hubbard really only went up 1 snap. And then this week, I expect Sanders and Hubbard to be closer to 50-50. I mean, I'm not saying Hubbard or Sanders out snaps Hubbard. That's probably ridiculous. But if it's even closer to 50-50, maybe, 65-35, we're going to be in a good spot. And I think that's what's going to be the case. And Sanders honestly looked like the better back last week. And this is a Panthers team that, let's be honest, they kind of need playmakers, and I don't really love Chuba Hubbard, and I don't think they do either, and I think the Panthers head coach kind of said, hey, that we're going to try to get Sanders the ball more, and Sanders, 3 receptions for 22 yards on 5 targets last week. The man only played 18 snaps, still had 5 targets, 3 receptions across this line, while Hubbard, you saw him at 4 receptions, but only 9 yards, 6 targets, not to mention that when they ran the ball, Sanders averaged 6.5 yards per carry, Hubbard only 3.6. So, look, Sanders looked like the better guy. And honestly, no offense, he is the better guy than Chuba Hubbard, and I think they're going to get the rock to Sanders more. He looks good back from his injury, and we look at the rush attempts lines. You're seeing Chuba Hubbard all the way down to 11.5. I mean, this is a guy that has like 15 plus rush attempts in 3 straight. Now you're dropping his line to 11.5. I think the books are saying, hey, we think Sanders gets a little more work. And this is a great matchup, especially to target in the air. I don't hate Sanders' rush yards, but I already talked about in the Adam Thielen pick. The Bears allowing the fewest rushing yards per attempt. And this is Panthers offensive line that I don't trust either. But you look at what do the Bears give up a lot of? A lot of receptions and a lot of receiving yards to running backs. The Bears allow the most receiving yards per game to running backs at nearly 64 per game. They've allowed 578 yards receiving to running backs this season. The next closest to them, 426. That is a gigantic gap. And then we saw in weeks 1 through 4 when Sanders was 100% healthy, he had 26-4, 38 and 13 receiving yards going over on 3 of 4 games. He had 4, 3, 5, and 3 receptions. So he has a good connection with Bryce Young coming out of the backfield, and that's all we can ask for. If we could get 1 or 2 receptions, we should hit this line, but there's a chance he gets 3 or 4, and then we should easily smack this line. But we've seen Sanders, last week, only 11 routes ran, had a 45% target percentage on those routes. So look, Bryce Young was snapping it, seeing Sanders open, throwing it to him, and that's what you want to do against this Bears defense that gives up a lot of receptions to running backs. And we saw Miles Sanders go over this line in 30 of 41 career games with 2 or more receptions. That's a 73% hit rate. Look, he's not necessarily the sexiest running back on the field, no, but I do think that the books have his 1.5 receptions line juiced to minus 150. They're pretty confident he gets 2 receptions. They wouldn't juice it like that and give you a good plus money on the under. And we know Sanders could hit this with just 1 reception, which is what a lot of guys have done against the Bears this season. 1 reception, get us a little over a first down. Boom, we're going to cash this one. I really like this matchup against the Chicago Bears defense. So hopefully the 2 main targets for Bryce Young tonight are Miles Sanders, and when he gets his yards, only look at Adam Thielen, and we can go 2-0 and dominate the books. But finally, let's wrap up the video talking about a sleeper entry. A reminder, you can sign up using our code COS. You would get a free square for Bryce Young to get 1 yard. Say what you want about Bryce Young. He's getting you 1 yard. I promise you that. You can sign up with our code COS or the top link in the description. You get that 100% deposit match and that free square. Here's my entry for tonight, which you could probably throw Bryce Young in here if you wanted to. Although I'm not sure if they let you overlap these. But either way, let's talk about Adam Thielen over 6.5 receptions. Took that. I did pivot to Miles Sanders over 1.5 receptions. I'm fine laying that in a parlay as opposed to, having to take the receiving yards, but I like obviously both of them. And my other one, Cole Kmet under 35.5 receiving yards. Now, a lot of people are going to be at Cole Kmet's overs, which is probably, I can't blame you after how he's done the last few weeks, but I think this is where they trap you because I think Cole Kmet is not going to have a huge day on Thursday night because this has been a Panthers team that has actually played pretty well against tight ends over the past 5-6 weeks. So I think Cole Kmet's due for a down week. Maybe DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney have better weeks. Heck, you got DJ Moore in a revenge game. So I do think that we're going to see probably a more wide receiver based attack from the Bears as opposed to them throwing to Cole Kmet like 8 times a game. I'm just saying, I think this is a Cole Kmet down game, but either way, we'll see how he goes. It's just one of my plays that I'm throwing in this parlay, but we're trying to turn $30 into $155, try to 5.18x our money. I'll take that reminder. Sign up with our code COS. You get the free square. Also get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Those are my 2 favorite picks. Let's go 2-0 tonight. Let's absolutely dominate like we did last Thursday night. And let's hopefully build this into a great week 10 and a great rest of the season. We got tons of NFL action the rest of the year to really turn a great profitable season, which hasn't been a great start to the year, but we're having a profitable year. When my NBA video is live, I'll post it on the screen. Let's have a wonderful day. Let me know your favorite picks down below for Thursday Night Football. It's Austin. I'm signing out. I'll see you guys on Friday for some more NFL picks and probably on Saturday for more NFL picks for Sunday slate. I'll see you then. Peace.